Welcome back to Radiant Womanhood. It is October. I could not be more excited to share this episode with you. More excited for the season. We've got just 3 months left in the year. And I want to talk about why this time right now, this fall, this season is the most exciting time of the year for you. Forget waiting for January. Fall is the season of change. And you guys, it is the perfect time to embrace some of these new habits and finish pursuing that goal that you might have been putting off. Today, I'm going to walk you through why these last 3 months of the year are so incredibly powerful. We're going to talk about the stats and the studies. Everything is backed by research and how you can use this natural momentum to get ahead of 99% of other people around you just by being aware of these principles and by embracing the natural momentum of the season. So yes, we are talking about fall. Why is fall the best time for change? And it is more than just pumpkin spice lattes and cozy sweaters, but if you're seeing this, you can see I'm into all of it. I am all about all of the fall everything. I began decorating quite a while ago. We have been making pumpkin everything. My social media feed is full of pumpkins and oranges and incredible recipes and all of the stuff that our family is enjoying and loving. So I really go all in kind of on whatever season we're in. I love learning about what the seasons mean and what they mean for us. But especially taking that now and applying it to our growth and how to really pursue your dreams, how to live a life that you love. And I know it can sound crazy, but this is such an incredible time and an incredible season for building a life that you love. It is literally the season of change. The weather begins to cool, at least in most parts of the world. Maybe we don't feel it yet in Florida, but I'm getting to. Like I said, I've got my sweater on. The leaves start to shift colors. The world around us starts preparing for a new chapter. And it's no surprise that fall is when we, as humans, feel a shift. It's just part of our nature. It's been built in us since birth. And I'll share a little bit more about that in a minute, but it's the time when kids go back to school. So we have all the back to school time, college classes begin, and even our daily routines start to look different, maybe from those vacation days, the summer vacations, or the maybe lazy summer days, or maybe for you, it's a super busy, all bebopping all over summer days. But in the fall, we begin to change the way we cook. We change the way we plan. We change the way we live our lives. And this collective energy around fall makes it the perfect season for something new. The perfect time to start something new or even finish something new. I'm saying a lot of things, but it is the season of change. And I know sometimes you might be thinking, okay, you're talking about change. You're talking about starting something. You're talking about goals right now. And isn't January when we do all that? Like January is when I set goals. January is when I set my New Year's resolution. And yes, January has its own uber important place on the calendar, but we're going to talk about the difference in seasonal energy because there is a shift and a change in January, but it comes from the calendar that from December to January, there is not a change in season. It's all winter, but there is a change and a shift on the calendar and a shift in that kind of energy because of how our calendar works. But fall is about progress and change. Well, winter, especially January, is a season of rest and reflection. I love vision boarding. Even in the first season of this podcast, go into vision boarding, why I believe it's so important. And this coming January, we're going to get back into that again and really into, yes, how do we set those goals or our intentions for the year? How do we vision board it to do it in a way that it actually is successful? How do we come into January? And we're going to go over all of that again come January. But there's such a difference in the energy of the season. Winter is when nature itself slows down. And in nature, it is a collective hibernation period. And our bodies feel that too. It's perfect time for resetting and for reflecting and for planning. And what I love about the energy of January is it allows you to open up and dream, really open up and dream bigger than any other time. So that's the beauty in January. And I found, I used to be kind of like, oh, it's January, go, go, go. Let's make these changes. Let's do these things. And that's when burnout really happens. So for me, January is a time to really have this slower rhythm. I start my year really slow and adding a lot of rest and resetting and resting my mind and my body and allowing to better prepare for new goals, allow for those dreams to happen. And actually, let's just talk about all of the seasons for a second, because there's these different energies in all of them. They all have an important place to help us balance our goals with our well-being when we take advantage of the rhythms of nature. So like in spring with this renewal and growth, I think of life and new growth. It's just a time of fresh starts. When nature wakes up from this hibernation and dormancy of winter, things are blooming, days are longer. And so for our goals, it's a great time for initiating new projects. We like the spring cleaning and things like that. It's a time to take on challenges. It's also a time for planting seeds. And so that's a great time for kind of planting and taking steps in new endeavors. Summer, there's an energy of the season with growth and abundance. Days are longer, the energy levels are up there, and it's a full bloom type of a season of vitality and expansion. It's a great time for all of those family times, those family trips and vacationing. Also, it's a good time for putting in the work and making progress, maybe nurturing some of those projects or goals. It's not a time to give up on projects and goals. But there is a shift as well, just in the way that we operate in each season. Fall is really that season of change and of harvest. The days start to begin to shorten, the air cools, we kind of talked about that, the leaves start to change color. So it is really a time to begin to hone in and harvest the results of our efforts, the things that we've been working on. It's a season of reflection and productivity and transformation. And that's really what I want to focus on today, is that change and that shift in energy. And how can we focus on that to allow the transformation to happen that maybe we've been looking for, the transformation that you've been wanting in your life, maybe the things that you've put aside because summer was busy and kids were home and things were happening and I was taking care of everyone else and everything else. But now this is fall, and I'm going to look at what are the things in my life that the adjustments that I've wanted to make, the projects that I've started or wanted to do. Let's take advantage of the natural motivation to get organized, to build the life that we love, to reap the things that we've sown. And of course, like we talked about, January or winter, that season of quiet, rest, hibernation, time to slow down and reflect and rest and plan and dream. But if you're feeling the pull to get something done now, listen to that. Listen to the rhythm of the seasons. Fall is the season of productivity. And let's get into some stats to back this up. So one of the things we really feel, and I think we all kind of know, but just talk about it for a minute, that back to school effect. And it is such a real and true phenomenon in our culture and in our lives. But it's why so many of us feel this natural burst of energy and motivation during the fall months. I don't know if you felt it. I don't know if you've been cleaning out some things, like, you're digging out the backpacks and you're digging out the school supplies and you're getting things ready and prepped for a new school season and a school year. And so you're just cleaning out stuff. We went through this a little bit of purging in our house to prepare for the fall months. But it's just this natural motivation and energy when school is back in session. Our schedules become more structured. There's this sense of routine. And in that sense of routine, it creates momentum. And I'm not talking about just for the kids. I'm not talking about just for students. It's for everyone. I'm not in school right now. And I feel this building the sense of routine and momentum. In the earlier episodes of this podcast, I was talking about getting back to basics. It's just this time to get back to the routines and the schedules that we know and love and work for us, and motivation that comes through it. There was a study in the UK that was done that found that 65% of adults believe that making small improvements in September, or right at the beginning of fall season, is so much easier than waiting for New Year's resolutions. And why is that? It's because we're already in this natural shift, in this natural energy shift of getting things done, of setting up a schedule, of getting into this momentum. It's the time of year. It's crazy that stats actually show, because I would think some of this is actually January, but stats have shown That is the time of year when more people get new haircuts. There are more signups for gym memberships. And of course, this one, there are more enrolling in classes than any other time of the year. There's more new projects at this time of year than in the winter in January. But it's not a coincidence. Fall naturally fosters this productivity and this change. Look at what nature does. They begin to store up for hibernation. They prepare for the next season that's coming, right? So it's the best time to focus on that goal that you've been sitting on. In the marketing world or in the business world, you might be familiar with the term Q4, and that's something that we've thrown around a lot. And it's really, and especially as a marketing side of it, that's when businesses and marketers go into overdrive because it's the final push to finish the year strong. For so many businesses and industries, and especially retail or anything that has that forward facing, Q4 can make or break the year. What is Q4 again? It's the final quarter. It's the last 3 months of the year. This is October 1st. We are in Q4, October, November, December. 3 months, Q4, quarter four. Companies ramp up efforts. And I want to say, okay, if that is such a productive season, a time of this transformation and growth and preparation and moving into new things, why shouldn't we? Why can't we? Why couldn't we? And the thing is we can. You can. The concept is really powerful to think about it in the last 3 months. And I don't want it to be from a scarcity mindset or a scarcity point of view. I only have 3 months left. I have to do all these things and to feel overwhelmed or to feel stressed about it. But I want this to be an encouragement and an encouraging thing to know that I'm in a season right now, the season, like natural, all of us are in the season right now where naturally productivity and motivation ramps up. So I get to choose what I use that on. That's what's encouraging and that's what's exciting about it. I'm not saying like, oh, you should be doing this. We've already talked about that, all of the shoulds in life. I'm not saying you should do anything. I am telling you that this is such a powerful concept that there is naturally a surge of productivity and focus right now in this season that you can get yourself into that productive mindset. And you don't have to wait for January to start working on your dream. You don't have to wait for a new year to do it. There's just this natural energy that's happening around you. And I'm saying it's already there. When you tune into that and when your mindset sees that, like when you realize that, you can say, what is it now that I want to use this to focus on? That's what's exciting and that's what's encouraging about it. And in that, speaking of getting things done, I want to know if you have heard of Parkinson's law. This is one of my favorite productivity principles. And it's just the fact that work or the project or whatever it is expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. So if you give yourself 3 days to clean out your closet, how long is it going to take you to clean out your closet? 3 days. If you give yourself 1 day or 5 hours to clean out your closet, how long is it going to take you to clean out your closet? The time that you gave it. You'll get it done in 1 day. And this is kind of where this law explains why deadlines, even ones that happen naturally on a calendar or self-imposed ones, can be so effective. And guess what? We can take advantage of that and apply it to the next 3 months. Imagine if you have an entire year to work on a goal. The chances are that you are going to stretch out the work, stretch out the everything to fill that year. But if you only have 3 months to do it, your focus sharpens. Think about it like this, even in saying your goals, okay? Just listen to the difference here for a minute. I want to walk 10,000 steps a day for the next 3 months. Or I want to walk 10,000 steps a day this year. Which one feels more doable? Which one feels more concise? But what's the change? The time that we've given it. Or even something like, I want to get in shape in the next 3 months compared to, I think I'll get in shape this year. What is that doing? It's giving us a focus. It almost feels like it starts to break down the goal into these smaller increments already because the time allotted has helped shift the focus. Can you feel the difference as I say those things? I want to finish my book in the next 3 months compared to, I'm going to write a book this year. The tight deadlines can amplify your productivity. So use the rest of the year as your own personal deadline. I don't want you to let 2025 roll around with you still waiting to start that project. And then you give yourself a whole nother year for it to stretch out and fill. Here's another powerful stat for you. Research actually shows that you are 25% more productive in the fall than in the winter. Yes. We already talked about why the seasons are so different. In winter, the days are so much shorter. It is really just we feel this time and this need for rest and hibernation and dreaming. Where the fall, it's where the change happens. And it beats fall season, beats January or winter for productivity. So take advantage of those natural rhythms of the season, of the natural rhythm, the natural rhythm of this season right now when the air starts to get crisper and we instinctively feel the urge to just get some things done instead of waiting to winter when it's more of a reflective or slower period. It's such a great season and a great time for planning. But this right now is a season of action. Forbes did a study, and how long do you think the average goal lasted? So I am talking about January, and I'm talking about New Year's resolutions. And actually, the number was a little bit larger than what I thought. But the average goal or New Year's resolution, maybe all of the ones that are naturally set. I want to change my diet this way, or I want to get back in the gym, or read every day, or whatever those kind of goals or resolutions are that were set in January. Their survey found that the average goal lasts about 3.5 months, 3.74 months was the average, which means some were a little longer, some were less, but that was the average. Let's use those 3 months right now to get this goal done. Here's my challenge to you. I'm going to say, don't wait until January to start working on your dreams or the next dream, the next goal that you have for you, the project that you've maybe started and put aside because summer was busy, or the thing that's kind of feeling like, okay, I'll wait till life slows down a little bit to work on this thing, this business plan that I'm so excited about, this book that I started, but I haven't finished yet. Whatever it is, the time is now. Use the next 3 months. Embrace this natural energy. Tap into the momentum of the season and get ahead of 99% of the people that aren't even thinking about it or aware of it, aware of what this season means, whether it's a personal project or a new skill, maybe even just getting your life more organized. Fall is the time to take action. And I'm not asking you to burn out. I'm not asking you to go overboard. What I'm asking you is to be intentional with the energy that comes in the season. What I'm saying is there's already a natural energy and a natural momentum that leads you towards productivity that's happening right now. And I'm asking you to say, let me be intentional with this little bit of momentum and motivation that I'm feeling. Because the person that you were last year or last fall, think about this for a minute. What did your life look like last fall or last year? What was happening around you? Who was in your life? For us, last fall, we had a senior in high school. And now this year, she's in a completely different state. I get to talk to her maybe once a week right now because she's in boot camp and she's about to graduate boot camp and is starting this whole other career and whole other thing. It's just crazy. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, that's for sure. But thinking about this, like we were finishing up high school senior last year. Well, she had just started her senior year of school. And now it's like completely different thing. This podcast, this thing that you're listening to right now, it wasn't even a thing last fall. It wasn't even really on my own radar at all. I kind of shared that story in one of the first episodes, but I have had this podcast on my heart for a long time. But it wasn't until really the end of last fall that it was for me that feeling of it's time. The motivation is here and it's now that we got the ball rolling for it. But this time, October 1st last year, it wasn't a thing. Last year, this time last fall, I had twin little boys at home, toddler boys all day. And this year, they're in preschool, getting ready for kindergarten, but they're in preschool for half a day every day. Things change naturally. Things already are changing for us. So let's be intentional with the way that they change for us. Start small. If you need to, that's okay. Start small. Take those little steps, but start now. You'll be amazed at how much you can actually accomplish before the year is out if you are intentional with the motivation and the productivity that you have. If you are intentional with setting your deadline to be 3 months instead of, I'll do it next year. I'll do it this year. You know what I mean? Like having a whole year to spread it out instead of 3 months. Let's finish 2024. Let's finish this year strong. And if you're listening to this podcast next year, then finish 2025 strong. Wherever you are in years, it still applies to the fall season. Let's finish it strong. And I get so excited for the season. And yes, it is, like I mentioned, a lot about the food and the colors and the changes and what I get to bake and cook and all of those fall feelings. But also it's the feeling and the natural momentum and energy to make some changes. It is the true season of change. And I want you to take advantage of that for you. I want you to take this time and this energy to focus on you. You are going to feel the natural energy to get things done. So I'm not asking you to set a work goal really right now for the next 3 months, but I want you to set a you goal. Something that moves the needle for yourself to make you happy, to focus on you. What is something that you wanted for you? If it is a class and that's what you want, then do it. If it's writing that book and that's what you want, then do it. If it's improving your own health and energy, then take the steps to make it happen. And if in all of this time and talking about this, you don't immediately know what one thing, one project or one habit or one anything that right away you're like, this is what I want to focus on, then I'm going to tell you what your new goal is going to be for right now, what your homework is for this fall season. Focus this next quarter on improving yourself. Find a way to make improvements in yourself. And maybe if it's something that is going to bring you joy, and that's what you're like, okay, I need to make improvements on my joy and my mindset and my thoughts, something creativity that brings you joy. If it's something that improves your health because you're saying, I need the energy, I need the change in my health. But just know that as you improve your own self, as you improve your health, as you invest in you, invest in yourself and learn and grow, you are better able to make the change that you want to see, to make the change to the people and the things around you. Other things outside of you naturally begin to shift as your own health and your own attitude shifts. So always, when you don't know what you want to change or work on yourself. Start there. Ask yourself that question. Okay, if there's something on myself that I would want to improve, what would that be? And then you can take the steps to say, okay, if it's health, then maybe this is what improves it. These are the steps that I need to take. But friends, we can do it. I want to thank you so much for joining me on Radiant Womanhood today. Let's take advantage of the fall season. Share this with a friend that may be a friend that you know loves fall, or a friend that is setting some goals, or maybe had some really exciting goals at the end of the year, and you want to send them a word of encouragement to say, you've got this. Friend, you can do it. This is the season. This is the time for change and for motivation and productivity. And so I hope this episode has inspired you to seize the season and embrace the powerful energy that fall already brings with it. Until next time, remember that you have the power to create a life you love, and it starts today.